Record. Is it recording? Okay. Welcome to Eco 501, section 1. No, section. Yeah, this is section 1. Section 1, week number 8. And this week we will discuss monopolistic competition. At the end of the class, we will discuss about our assessments, etc. Because I thought that midterm will be held, but the midterms are now being treated as assignments. I'll discuss this in detail after we have finished everything, and also by that time more people may come and join us. So let me go to the slides now. I'll make the slides available after class. Okay, so what we are going to do now, can you see the slide properly? The whole slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Okay, in your screen you
Yes,
see that,
sir.
sir. Okay, lovely. So today we are going to look at a market called monopolistic competition. As the name suggests, the market has two components. One segment, there will be a monopoly. That means there will be some firms that have market power. In another segment, there will be competition, just like perfect competition, where each firm has very little market power. So, everybody does have market power, but in the monopoly part, they have a lot of market power, and in the competitive part, they have less market power. Acha. So what we're going to do, we're going to, first of all, we're going to revisit the last class when we discussed markets, and then we are going to introduce monopolistic competition. What are the assumptions of this market? How is this market characterized? Acha. Before I start, let me say that monopolistic competition is probably the most common market you will observe. Whether that's in Dhaka in Bangladesh, maybe in Kathmandu in Nepal, or anywhere in the world, this type of market is the most commonly observed type of market. So let's start with the revisiting. First of all, we said that markets are either commodity markets or matching markets. Does anybody remember what commodity markets and matching markets were? Or do I have to repeat myself? Does anybody remember what matching markets and commodity markets are? Or do I have to repeat myself?
Sir, matching market is related with the stock market.
Mm-hmm. Matching?
Order matching market.
Why?
Sir, stock buy, sell, demand are matched by order processing system.
No. It's matching market doesn't mean that. Matching market means that the buyer and the seller, they don't have to know each other in the transaction. For example, in if I go to the stock exchange market, I want to sell my stocks of company A. You can buy. Do you need to know me?
Yeah.
You don't need to know me. So when in a market, when the buyer and the seller don't need to know each other, then we call it a commodity market.
Oh, I misplaced actually. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. No, that's why I'm repeating these things, because okay. So in the commodity market, what happens? The product that we are transacting, as a buyer, I know the quality of the product. As a seller, you also know the quality of the product. For example, if I want to buy a can of Coca-Cola, I don't need to know the seller. The seller doesn't need to know me. This is commodity market. Matching market means where buyer and seller have to know something about each other. For example, there are many barber shops in every city, but does that mean that you will go to any barber shop?
No.
You will never go. Everybody has the preference of a shop where they want to cut their hair, because although the service is the same, two different barbers will definitely cut their hair in two different ways. Okay, so or even tailors. Okay, if you want to have a tailored garment, then you need to know the tailor. The tailor also needs to know you, what type of colors you would like, etc. Okay, so those type of markets are matching markets. When we started off with perfect competition, we assumed that the markets were commodity markets. The same thing is being sold by everybody. As a buyer, I don't distinguish between two sellers. I know what the quality of the product is. The reverse is also true. The seller also doesn't distinguish two different buyers. If the buyer wants this product, the seller just sells it. Later on, when we relax the assumption of symmetric information, then we will enter the concept of matching markets. For example, if I want to take blood, okay, my blood group is B positive. Can I take blood from anybody?
No, sir.
I can't take blood from anybody. What will happen? I have to see whether that particular B positive blood matches me. Okay, if I need a kidney transplant, then there may be lots of donors who are willing to help me, but I can't take kidney from anybody. Those types of markets are matching markets. Then what we said was the markets will be defined by the number of sellers. So if there is one seller, we call it monopoly. Two sellers, we call it duopoly. Few sellers, we call it oligopoly. And the market that we will look at today is known as monopolistic competition. Then what we did was we identified 4 criteria or characteristics of every market. We're talking about the grocery shop. We have already done this many times since the beginning of the course, that the grocery shop, if we define the relevant market as entire Dhaka city, then a single grocery shop has no market power. But within its own neighborhood, the local grocery shop has some degree of market power because its customers will not be able to or may not want to go very far off and buy some essential commodities. So how is the relevant market being defined? That means under what geographical location or technological capacity is a particular firm operating. That defines the relevant market. Based on that, we get different types of outcomes. Okay. Concentrated market, how did we define? A market which is dominated by few large firms, like we will see today, and many small firms. Fragmented market means there is no clear firm that has market power. And consolidated market was that over time, the market starts off with say 50 firms. 10 years, come back after 10 years, you will find 4 or 5 firms. The classic example in the context of Bangladesh is the mobile telephone company. At the beginning of 2000, there were many regional mobile phone operators. Today, you don't have any regional operators. Over time, we now have only 3 private operators and 1 national operator, the state's Teletalk. Then what we said was market power is also influenced by is substitutes available, are complements available, how easy is it to enter, how difficult or easy is it to exit. And finally, the power of buyers. This one we weren't that much interested. Okay, does anybody have any questions regarding this slide before I move on to perfect competition? Commodity markets, matching markets, relevant market, concentrated market.
So fragmented market.
Achha, fragmented market. Are you from Bangladesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. Then can you identify a market where there is no clear dominant seller? Can you identify a market where there's not a clear dominant seller? What about the Kacha Bazar of New Market? Have you been to a Kacha Bazar kitchen market?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in a kitchen market, if you go to the fish section, you will see that there are many fish sellers. Okay, does any single fish seller have a dominant market share in that particular kitchen market?
I have no clear idea about it, sir.
You're not clear. আচ্ছা আমি তো বাংলায় বলবো, বাংলায় বলি।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ওকে, আমি তাহলে বাংলা বাচ্চা নিউ মার্কেটে কাঁচা বাজারে তো যদি আমরা কি বলে মাছের বাজারে যাই, ওখানে হয়তো 70টা মাছের সেলার আছে, তাই না? কোন সেলার কি খুব বেশি মার্কেট পাওয়ার আছে যে একটা সেলার 10% অফ দ্য এন্টায়ার মার্কেট শেয়ার তার হাতে?
না।
মোটামুটি সবারই মার্কেট শেয়ার সেম না, কারো হয়তো 1% বেশি, কারো হয়তো 1% কম, কিন্তু ওইরকম ক্লিয়ার ডমিনেন্ট একটা ফার্ম আছে ওইসব কিচেন মার্কেটে?
I don't think so, sir.
You don't think so? That's why those markets are fragmented. They're split up into very small farms, so that that's fragmented. Is it clear now, the fragmented market?
Yes, sir. মানে হচ্ছে এদের মোটামুটি সবার অবস্থানটাই সমান, মানে
সমান বা কাছাকাছি। হ্যাঁ,
মানে একটু উঁচু নিচু, খুব বেশি ডিফারেন্ট এদের মধ্যে নেই।
খুব বেশি ডিফারেন্স নাই, রাইট?
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
তবে মুরগির মার্কেটে if you go to the place where they sell chicken, you'll find lots of chicken sellers, but you won't find a single farm যে 50% of the total market share ওই তার হাতে আছে. So that's why this market is fragmented, টুকরা টুকরা. Okay, so shall I move on to perfect competition?
Sir, I want to know about power of buyers.
Sorry?
I want to know about power of buyers.
Oh, power of buyers. Okay, lovely. No problem. Power of buyers is that Dhaka Wasa and Chittagong Wasa, these are state monopolies. Only they can supply drinking water or piped water to the people of the Dhaka and Chittagong. Okay. So in the product market, where we define market by number of sellers, Dhaka Wasa and Chittagong Wasa are monopolies. But when Dhaka Wasa wants to buy a pump to fix one of its, operation sites, is Dhaka Wasa a single buyer?
No, sir.
Dhaka Wasa is not a single buyer. Let me give you an example. There are many car owners in Dhaka city. Okay, thousands and thousands of people own cars, or companies own cars. But when it comes to mobile of the car, how many suppliers are there? Very few, right?
Yes, sir.
So what happens is, although a farm like Dhaka Wasa or Chittagong Wasa is a monopoly, the sole producer in its relevant market, when that farm becomes a buyer, it doesn't necessarily imply that Dhaka Wasa will have market power. Is it clear now?
Yes,
The
sir.
person who
Yes,
asked the power of buyers?
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay, and rivalry, if it's not clear, that is that my decision, the decisions are interdependent. We will be focusing on this. I'm not doing it now. So shall I move on to perfect competition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. Acha, perfect competition, these were the assumptions. Homogeneous means the same product of two sellers is the same in my eyes and also in the same of the two sellers. So homogeneous just means identical. Decisions are independent. What is independent decision? If I decide tomorrow morning to sell more bananas, that will not affect the banana market of Dhaka city. If a person who sells eggs on the street decides tomorrow morning that they want to sell less eggs or more eggs, that will not affect the entire industry. So my decision doesn't influence another person's decision. Another person's decision does not influence my decision. Symmetric information is buyers and sellers have the same set of information about the quality of the product, not its performance. আমি একটা stop share করি. Symmetric information means buyer and seller has the same set of information about the quality of the product, not its performance. Let me give you an example. If you are changing your tires for your car and you decide to buy, say, whatever the company is, you know what you're buying. You're buying a good company. each set of tire maybe 8,000 or 10,000 taka. Okay, but as a buyer or as a seller, does anybody know about how good the tire will perform after the sale is made? ট্রানজাকশনটা শেষ হওয়ার পরে কেউ কি বলতে পারবে এই টায়ারটা ভালো মতো চলবে কি চলবে না?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, nobody can say with certainty, right? So that is something that we will address in another next week or the week after. But for the time being, when we say that information is symmetric, that means the buyer and the seller have the same set of information about the quality. So for example, this is my pen. Can you see it? This is my pen that I use on my tablet. So I know exactly what the features of this pen is as a buyer. The seller also knows the features as a seller. But after I buy it, whether it's going to survive 6 months or 1 month or 2 years, I don't know as a buyer, the seller also doesn't know. Okay, so both of us are ignorant about it. But symmetric information then means basically, that the buyer and the seller have the same set of information about the quality of the product. Now, what is the implication of perfect competition? There are many buyers, there are many sellers. The entire market is fragmented. Fragmented means no single buyer, no single seller has enough market power to influence the outcome of the market. It's a fragmented market. And another characteristics of fragmentation is that two parties cannot cooperate. Okay, that we cooperate and we try to create market power together. That's also not possible. So what happens? Perfect competition is a commodity market. Since the product that the people are selling are identical in the eyes of the consumers and the sellers. Okay, it's not a matching market. And what do you call it? Since nobody has market power, each unit will sell at the same price. So a bottle of Coca-Cola, whether I buy it in Dhaka city or I buy it in Thakurga or even in Nijumdi, is the same price. Okay, and market forces determine supply and demand. Now, you may say that this type of market does not exist in reality, which is true. That's why we are going to now break one of the crucial assumptions. Which assumption will we break? We are going to break this one. Homogeneous product. That means the sellers can differentiate their product. Okay, I think people are in the last class people had trouble understanding different and differentiated. Does anybody have trouble? Is anybody in doubt regarding different and differentiated?
No, sir.
Okay, you don't. Does anybody have problem understanding what different products is and differentiated products is?
Yes, sir. I have.
Good. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have another person who
Yes, sir.
was. Okay, lovely. So we have some people. Look, this is my. Can you see it? Yeah. These are my glasses. This is a pencil. These are totally different products because their function is totally different. So the pencil gives me one utility. The glass will give me another utility. Are these different?
No, sir.
No.
They're similar, but they are different. But they're differentiated now. Both of them serve the same purpose. Both of them are two pencils. You see, both of them has an eraser at the end. But what's the difference? One has a natural color, another one has red. Now, if I know how many people like red pencils over a natural color, can I charge the two pencils at two different prices? It's the same thing. Same company makes the pencils, just the pencil colors are different. One is red and one is a natural color. Okay, so if I know that more people prefer red pencils than the natural color, can I charge the red pencil a little bit more?
I think yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I can charge
Yes,
it
sir.
and I can get away by not losing all my sales, right? Because in the eyes of the consumer, there is a preference difference. Some people like red pencils more, say 60% prefer red pencils over natural color. So differentiation means they can be really different in quality, or the differentiation may be cosmetic. Do you understand
Yes,
the word?
sir.
Do you understand the word cosmetic?
Yes, sir.
Like, carry on.
Lipstick or can be shampoo like
Mm-hmm.
Samsung different kinds of shampoo we
Mm-hmm.
can see in advertise Pantene
No, no, no,
as
no.
oil
Do,
basement.
do you know what the actual meaning of cosmetics is?
Oh, sir, it's going to the toiletries. I think shampoo is not the.
Yeah, because shampoo is
It's
a
toiletries.
cosmetic. The thing is, if I don't use shampoo, it's not that my hair won't look nice, but if I use shampoo, it will look a little bit more nice. Okay, so the difference is not that much. For example, if I wash my face with soap, I'll look very clean. But if I wash it with water, it's not that I'll look dirty. Okay, cosmetic means the change is very little. Isn't the change very little?
Yes, sir. No,
Uh,
no, sir. It's different, two different color.
colors are different, but quality wise, are they different?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Purpose is the same.
Purpose is the same, and also quality wise they're same. So the differentiation here is a cosmetic differentiation. Let me give you another example. Where's my and as usual I won't find it. Okay, where's my phone? পাওয়া যাবে না. Anyhow, suppose I have a very basic phone. Another person has a high-end phone. Okay, say it's a Samsung high-end or a Apple iPhone. Both of them are giving me same say utility. Both of them just make a phone call and nothing else. But the difference is then real difference. Apple is definitely 1,000 times much better than a basic phone or Samsung high-end phone. Does everybody agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we talk about differentiation in products, the products are similar to each other, but they're different in the eyes of the consumer. Now, this difference may be cosmetic, like the pencil case that we showed. The difference may also be real. In the case, now we go to the slides to make it more clear. Okay, so the name of this market, monopolist of competition, was first coined in 1933 by two different people from the first one is Edward Chamberlain from Harvard in Massachusetts, Cambridge, and the second one is Joanne Robinson in Cambridge, England. Both of them named it monopolistic competition. Why did they name it monopolistic? Now let me give you a few examples. In Dhaka city, there are many markets that sell shirts. But when you look at the high end of the market, are there too many farms in Dhaka city? Artisan, Cat's Eye, Arong, are there too many farms selling men's shirts?
No.
There are not that many farms, right? Hmm?
Only a few, sir.
Only a very few. Okay, now let me give you another example. Uh, Coffee or tea. There are lots of farms that sell tea in Dhaka city. Okay, but when we go to a very niche tea, say a tea in a five-star hotel, how many suppliers are there in Dhaka city? Very few.
Very few, sir.
Okay, you guys give me another example that the market is divided into two parts. Very few large firms on one end and many small fringe firms on another end. Can you give me an example? other than the two that I've given?
Sir, I have seen like whatever we buy from local market, like uh, vegetables or fruit or whatever. It's very local, but I have seen some shops in Bonani where they sell actually organic product. They are very much like pricey. So I think it can be an example
Yes. So what
because
happens
they are
is,
selling organic product.
now organic products, little farms can also sell, but there are some very few large farms in one end of the market. For example, saris. For example, say men's shirts. Okay. Then, for example, computer accessories. There are lots of firms that sell computer accessories that, who are scattered throughout Dhaka city. But if you go to ITP or Multiplan, then you will find the large sellers concentrated in these two markets, right?
So restaurants maybe.
Sorry?
We have seen.
Restaurants.
And restaurants is also another example. For example, in your BRAC University, in your campus area, you have lots of small restaurants that sell a cup of tea for say 5 taka. At the same time, cinnamon restaurant, they may be selling the same tea for 20 taka, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this is another good example. That's a nice one. So if we look at restaurants, you will find that there are many small restaurants in the fringe. None of them have any market power, but there at the same time there are top notch restaurants who are operating with fierce competition. For example, what do you call it? Radisson, Intercon, and Shonarga. These three are in one league, and they have rival tactics at that time. Here we use the word rival tactics. What is rival tactics? When Shonarga launches a product, just like Grameen Phone, it has to think what the response Intercon and Radisson will make. Okay, but they don't have to worry about what the chayar dokan on the in the road will do. Do you get the point now?
Yes, sir.
So the main feature of monopolistic competition is there are very few firms in a dominant sector which operated just like a monopoly or an oligopoly, like our mobile telecom markets. Oh, somebody's in a very good mood today, singing. Okay, no problem. And in the other side of the market, there are very small fringe firms. Okay, they don't have market power, but they can differentiate their product. How? When we go to say, is there anybody in the class যে regular ঢাকা নিউ মার্কেটে বাজার করে বা some kitchen market বাজার করে? Is there anybody in our class who buys from kitchen markets on a regular basis?
Yes, sir.
ल हुन्छ दाइ के रे त्यो बिल पठाउँछ होला अनि पेमेन्ट तपाईले दिन त पर्दैन
Ravi, kindly mute
क्यास भन्नु भएको
yourself.
थियो हो के गरौँ त बस्ने है त
Ravi, Regmi.
I'm calling him, sir.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody in the class who buys from kitchen markets on a regular basis? কাঁচা বাজার থেকে বাজার করে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার করি তো স্যার।
আচ্ছা, you do on a regular basis, right?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, family.
Okay, great. Which market do you normally go to?
Sir, I actually do in Mirpur Bazaar, 6 number Bazaar.
Okay, 6 number Bazaar, no problem. In Mirpur number 6, the kitchen market that you go to frequently, do you have a specific seller that you go to all the time?
Certainly, sir.
Very good. Why? Why do you go to a particular seller?
It's because trust, sir.
And this trust was developed over time, right?
Certainly, sir.
Okay, good. So what happens is when we go to say Agora or Unimart to buy vegetables at a higher price, those are the dominant market firms in the grocery market. But the sellers in your Mirpur number 6, they also have very little market power because over time they have created their own brand image. That's why they will always have a certain number of customers like you. যারা সব
Yes, sir.
সময় ওই একটা পার্টিকুলার দোকানেই যাবে because they're happy for whatever reason তাদের পছন্দ, ঠিক আছে?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or it could be that today you don't have money, okay, আপনি নিয়ে যান, you pay me tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
You might even have this type of facilities from some sellers, right?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
But the thing is, this differentiation that the sellers in Mirpur number 6 are doing, that differentiation is the spread of the differentiation is very narrow, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's only to a few customers in a small geographical region. So those even in our local grocery shops in the neighborhood, if there are 3 grocery shops, we definitely have a preference of one over another for whatever reason. So because in our eyes, grocery A is different from grocery B, just like your fish seller in Mirpur 6. All the fish sellers are selling the same fish, but still you think as a buyer that my person is much better than the other person. Don't you think like this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ঠিক আছে? So যেটা হয় কি যে differentiation in the niche market, in the dominant market is in a larger scale. Differentiation exists in the competitive market as well, but it exists in a lower scale. So here the assumptions we've already discussed it. So there's a few dominant firms in one segment of the market and a large number of small firms in another segment. Dominant markets sell products that are differentiated in some manner. It may be real differentiation like iPhone versus a basic phone, or it could be even perceived differentiation. For example, sarees of 2 different colors. Rivalry is in the dominant segment, like we said in the restaurant industry, say Intercon, Sonarga and Radisson. And that means the decisions over there are interdependent. If Sonarga launches a product today in Boishak, Samne Boishak asche, in that case, they have to think about the responses that their competitors will be doing. Pure competition is in the fringe. Decisions are independent, but the main thing is there is product differentiation in both segments. Okay, product differentiation exists in both segments. Okay, number 7. Okay. Acha, we don't need to, do we need to discuss these again? I think we've already discussed it, differentiated product and homogeneous product. If you read the slide and if you have any queries, tell me, then I'll try to clarify. Are we more or less clear about homogeneous products and differentiated products?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we don't need to, we've already discussed it. And then there's perceived differentiation, which we said that differentiation is cosmetic. For example, the red pencil and the natural pencil. There's really no difference between the two. But if we have information that one color sells more than the other, then it is possible to, let me stop share. Acha, have you noticed when we buy a high-end mobile phone, they offer 3 colors and 3 colors have 3 different prices?
Yes,
Most of the
sir.
time, sir.
For example, the black color is the basic color. That's price is the less. But if you want a sky blue, ocean blue, space gray, etc., then you may have to pay 1,000 taka more. Have you noticed it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Acha, why does this happen? Because over time, these sellers, they have understood that some people like black is the basic color, some people like silver, some people like another color. So that's why the basic color or jai rakhuk na keno, same features, same everything is the same, but the other color they charge a little bit more. Do they lose their market power, market sales by doing so? ওরা কি ওদের market power totally হারায় ফেলে by pricing the same commodity in two different prices just because of color?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So in that case, what happens? Where are we? So in that case, what happens? The sari example that we previous slide chilo. If two saris are two different colors, and if the seller knows from past experience that a particular color sells more than another, then হয়তো আমরা চোখে দেখবো না there is a 50 টাকা difference between the two saris or 100 টাকা difference. You go to Aron, you'll see that certain colored saris sell at a little bit higher price than other colors because they know that red will sell more during red কোনটার সময় বেশি বিক্রি হবে? বৈশাখ মাসে। আচ্ছা, and ফাল্গুনে? Yellow and orange, right? See, so over time, you see, you guys are also knowing that if it's a Boishak festival, and in Nanshu in Nepal, you also have Boishaki festivals, don't you?
So I don't know exactly what that is.
Oh, Boishak is that's you don't have Boishak month?
Boishak is our New Year. Like it's
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
month of
Yes,
our
Yes,
year.
yes,
we
you
do
must
have. We do have.
Yeah, you must have
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Boishak
yeah,
is a
yeah.
common month in the entire South Asia. So
Oh yes, sir.
the New Year, okay. So in Bangladesh, the ladies wear red. So over time, the sellers know that in Boishak during the Boishak festival, they can charge a higher price for red for the same sari. Okay, so the differentiation may be cosmetic; it's not real, but because there's changes in preferences, you can charge a different price. Another one is, say, Android versus iOS. Okay, now some people will argue that iOS, Apple, is far superior to Android. If that is the case, then the difference between Android and iOS, although they serve the same purpose, is a real differentiation. A car, that high-end car and a low-end car, the differentiation is definitely much better. Where you can understand that this is a differentiation. Okay, now you guys try to think of examples of perceived differentiation, which is cosmetic, and real differentiation, which is not cosmetic. And then we said that there's two segments. Acha, এখন why does this occur? This is what we want to know. Why does this market have two segments? Why does these markets have two segments? Why do these markets have two segments? Can somebody try to answer? Okay, why is it that in the restaurant market of Dhaka city, there are some very big restaurants, a few in one end of the market, and in the other end of the market, there are very small segments? Why?
So it's due to differentiation, sir, actually.
Both of them are differentiating. For example, the person who goes to Mirpur number 6, he has a preference for particular sellers, just like anybody else who goes there regularly. If I tell you the reason, you'll realize it's absolute common sense. Are all the farms equally efficient in the restaurant market?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
So naturally, there will be a segmentation. Some farms, due to their geographical location, that huge investments, they definitely become more efficient compared to, say, the tea seller on the side of the road, who who's roaming around with a flask. ঠিক আছে? Got it?
Yes, sir.
So the segmentation is that there everybody is selling a similar product which is differentiated, a little bit different in the eyes of the consumers, but since the market does not have equally efficient farms, some farms are much more efficient than others. That's why we have a segregation, the two segments in the market. And then what happened then, this one we've already discussed, that we have in the dominant sector we have elements of monopoly, where concentrated by dominated firms. For example, fashion industry has many firms in the fringe but few dominant firms in the upper segment. Acha, what leads to market power? This is also applicable in the small segment as well. Number one is brand loyalty. Consumers get used to products by certain firms. This is a function of time. Apple will always have some loyal customers. Why? Not only because Apple is good, but also because Apple interface is different from Android interface. So if there's somebody in this class who has been using an Apple phone for the last 5 years, is it easy for you to switch to another company, to an Android phone, just like that?
No, sir.
It will be difficult. The reverse is also true. For example, I'm an Android user. So all of a sudden, it's not that I can't switch to Apple. It's not that I don't have the money to buy an iPhone. The thing is, it's not convenient for me. So what happens? Brand loyalty happens in two ways. Number one, the seller itself over time creates brand loyalty through giving lots of what do you call it, services and etc. At the same time, there are technological or technical barriers for which customers will not be willing to switch. That's why some firms can differentiate their products and charge a higher price over others. Now, the dominant firms in our restaurant market, they know that their niche of the market is controlled by three firms in Bangladesh top-end restaurants, say Intercon, Sonarga, and Radisson. Is it possible for tomorrow morning that you will wake up and you will enter that market, that restaurant market?
No, sir.
You can't, because you need you need a lot of land. You can't buy land in Dhaka city just like that. So they know that their market is very much secured. Yes, they have competition within themselves, but when they think of themselves as a group, they know that it's not easy for somebody to enter. At the same time, once you enter a restricted market, you cannot exit from that market that easily. Do you agree with this? That if I can enter a market, okay, which is very difficult to enter, can I exit from the market that easily?
Yes, sir. It's not easy to exit.
Yes. So if it is easy to enter, it is easy to exit. If it is difficult to enter, it is difficult to exit. For example, if you set up a 5-star hotel today, you might have spent, say, $100 million. You cannot leave. You cannot wake up tomorrow morning and decide, no, I'm leaving. You can't do that. So once entrance is restricted, the existing firms know that they will definitely enjoy some kind of market power. But since there is what you call it, competition between them, they will try to focus on brand loyalty. How can they maintain their brand loyalty so that people don't go from Radisson to, say, Sonarga to Intercon, etc. Now, relevant market, look at this example. Tangail is where you will find Tater Shari in Bangladesh. Now, the Tater Sharis in Tangail, they are produced in only 2 or 3 villages in a place called Santosh. They sell their saris throughout the whole of Bangladesh. They also even sell it to Calcutta, You will find lots of some Bangladeshi Tangal sarees in Calcutta, in Tripura, and neighboring state provinces of India. But within Tangal, those two villages have absolute monopoly. There is nobody else who supplies sarees there. So if how are we defining the market? Are we defining Tangal Taঁতের শাড়ি market in Bangladesh and neighboring states of India, or are we defining it within the Tangal area itself? Depending on that definition, we will get different type of outcomes. Got it? Okay. Is it okay?
So can you explain it again?
Okay. আচ্ছা আমি বাংলায় বলি। টাঙ্গাইলের সন্তোষে একটা জায়গা আছে, ওই সন্তোষের ওখানে 2-3টা গ্রাম আছে। ওই 2-3টা গ্রামে বাংলাদেশের সমস্ত টাঙ্গাইলের তাঁত শাড়ি তৈরি হয়। ঠিক আছে? 90% তাঁতের শাড়ি ওখান থেকেই বের হয়ে আসে। এখন দিস তাঁতের শাড়ি সারা বাংলাদেশে বিক্রি হয়, কোনো আবার ইন্ডিয়াতেও বিক্রি হচ্ছে, কলকাতায় হয়, ত্রিপুরায় হয়। হ্যাঁ, এখন if we define the relevant market as Bangladesh, those villages have one type of market power. কিন্তু আমরা যদি relevant মার্কেটটাকে ডিফাইন করি টাঙ্গাইল on the basis of Tangal district only, then they have total market power. Am I clear now?
Yes, sir.
If we look at the relevant market as entire Bangladesh, it's not that other companies don't exist in Bangladesh, but the people of Tangal, maybe they have 70% of the entire national market, or even international market as well. But if we look at Tangal only, for Tangal Taঁতের শাড়ি, then all the sarees come from those 2 or 3 villages in Santosh. Is it clear now?
Got it, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
So how are we defining the relevant market? What is the total range within which farms are operating? Depending on how we define, our market power definition will either be very high, we can be a dominant farm, we can also be a fringe farm. Okay, now what do we have? আচ্ছা এটাও আমরা আলোচনা করছি, সেটা হচ্ছে we discussed this as well. Brand loyalty also exists in the neighborhood grocery area. For example, who said that they shop in Midpur number 6?
Kazi bhaiya.
Kazi, acha. Kazi ase? Kazi, are you here?
Sarachi.
Okay, so Kazi goes to kitchen markets in Midpur number 6, and in Midpur number 6 he has some special sellers to whom he goes all the time. Why? They are creating a brand loyalty in their relevant market. At the same time, if there is somebody who says, no, I don't want to go to the kitchen market, it's very full of mud, etc., etc., I want to go to a top end, say Unimart or whatever. Unimart is also creating a brand loyalty in a different scale. That's it, in their relevant market. So when we the problem with the business schools is, when we talk about brand loyalty, we automatically think that brand loyalty belongs to big firms. Not necessarily. Brand loyalty will also belong to small firms as well. For example, Kaji has all vehemently agreed that I'm not going to go to any seller. I have my particular sellers, I will buy my products from them only, because they created brand loyalty within their relevant market. Ever clear? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Acha, these are the examples that we've already discussed. Now your job is to tell me 1 or 2 more examples. Oh, sorry. We have a fashion industry, আমরা বলছি. We talked about the fish market, dominant firms in superstores, fringe and dominant firms in Karman Bazaar, etc. Computers আমরা বলেছি. Can you think about other examples in the context of Dhaka city or the city where you live? It's it's divided into 2 segments. One segment, very large firms, few, and another segment, fringe firms. Can you give me any other examples? Can you give me any other examples? Has people done? Manushki, has people vanished?
Sir, thinking still.
Oh, still thinking. আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে. Okay, carry on thinking then. This is the most common market that you will observe, monopolistic competition.
Sir, plastic equipment market.
Acha, can you give me an example? Why?
স্যার আমি বলতে চাচ্ছি যেমন আমরা এই মুহূর্তে প্লাস্টিক কোনো কিছু কিনলে ঘরের কিছু কিনলে আমরা কিন্তু আইদার আরএফএল কিনি,
হ্যাঁ
মানে আমি ম্যাক্সিমাম টাইমে আরএফএল কিনি স্যার।
ওকে লাভলি।
কিন্তু বাজারে কিন্তু স্যার আরএফএল ছাড়া বেঙ্গল আছে, আকিজা, আরো কয়েকটা ব্র্যান্ডের প্রোডাক্ট আছে এবং নরমাল অনেক প্লাস্টিক প্রোডাক্ট আছে। সো মানে
নরমাল অনেক ছোট ছোট ফার্ম কি আছে মার্কেটে নাকি this plastic industry is ruled by RFL, Bengal and few large firms?
Definite আছে স্যার, ছোট ছোট আছে, তবে মানে certainly ruled by 3 big companies actually.
Okay, so there are many producers, but the big producers are 3: RFL, Bengal and আরেকটা কি বলেন? Akiz.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, একটা আছে আপনার আকিজের স্যার।
Okay, lovely. So these are the 3 dominant firms in the plastic product market. But at the same time, there are also very small firms, right?
Yeah.
Acha, let me give you another example. What about shoe industry? You are from Mirpur, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, Apex, Bata, এই দুটো dominant.
এই দুটো dominant, and since Kazi is from Mirpur, he should know that in Mirpur 11 there are a lot of small independent shoemakers. তাই না?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ji, sir. Ji, sir.
Mirpur 11 there are lots of small independent shoemakers, but at the same time this industry is totally dominated by 2 big shots, Bata and Apex. So that's another example of monopolistic competition, right?
Yes, sir.
So you guys think about more relevant examples.
So can it be raw materials?
Sorry?
Can it be raw materials? For example, like for tobacco production, lot of people actually they produce the tobacco materials in a small, and then they bundle it up and then they sell it and then it converted into tobacco later on. So can it be the example?
Okay, so in the we are talking about Nepal.
So
okay, lovely. In Nepal, do you have independent cigarette sellers, tobacco sellers, small sellers?
Yes, there are like small sellers, but they sell in the form of raw materials.
Oh no, I'm talking about cigarettes, say or BD. Okay, you know what BD is?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so if we look at the BD market, there are lots of small independent sellers in Nepal, right?
Yes, sir.
At the same time, if you look at top brand cigarettes, there are very few sellers in Nepal, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you define the market as tobacco products, then it will be monopolistic competition. It depends on how you're defining the market. Do you get, is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so if you define it as tobacco products, then definitely in the context of Nepal, you will find lots of small producers who are selling small BDs. They don't have much market share, but they do have some brand loyalty. At the same time, you will have big companies like British American Tobacco or any other big tobacco, the company that exists in Nepal. Okay?
Got it, sir.
Okay, lovely. So, and
স্যার আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে।
হ্যাঁ, sure.
স্যার প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে স্যার মানে একটা দেশের ইকোনমিতে আসলে বিভিন্ন মানে আমি যদি বিভিন্ন প্রোডাক্ট ভাবি বিভিন্ন ধরনের কম্পিটিশন এক্সিস্ট করে মনোপলিস্টিক কম্পিটিশন আছে মনোপলি কম্পিটিশন আছে বিভিন্ন ক্ষেত্রে স্যার আমার প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে ন্যাশনাল ডেভেলপমেন্টের জন্য মনোপলিস্টিক কম্পিটিশনের ইম্পর্টেন্স কতটুকু
আচ্ছা importance is a the importance function depends on the nature of the market. Let me give you an example. If tomorrow morning if the government declares that anybody can come up set up a mobile telecom company, will the number of producers increase overnight?
It's not possible.
It's not possible because the nature of the industry is such that only very few firms can operate in this entire Bangladesh, right?
Yes sir, yes sir.
So it depends very much on the nature of the market. If the market is such that it can support many firms, then you will find lots of firms. But once a market can support many firms, then the next assumption that we've discussed today is that firms are not equally efficient. A group of firms will be much more efficient than lots of small firms. The shoe industry, okay,
yes sir, yes sir.
Plastic industry, or all the examples that we made. Yes, anybody can make shoes tomorrow morning if they want, but if you want to enter the niche markets of Bata and Apex, then you have to have huge investments, etc. But if you want to sell only in Mirpur 11, no problem, you can sell at any time, right?
Yes sir.
So the answer to your question basically is, what is the nature of the industry? Will it support many firms or will it not?
আমি স্যার আসলে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট কনটেক্সট থেকে চিন্তা করার চেষ্টা করছি যে মনোপলিস্টিক কম্পিটিশনে স্যার মানে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট কি অনেক বেশি জেনারেট হয় তা তো হচ্ছে না কারণ আমি যদি আমার যদি স্যার শ্রিঙ্ক হয়ে যায় সেগমেন্টেড হয়ে যায় তাহলে তো অনেক ছোট ছোট এন্টারপ্রেনাররা আছে তারা তো স্যার উঠে আসতে পারে না
মানে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট তো অবশ্যই সৃষ্টি হবে if you have 500 firms, okay, 500 small firms who are selling fish or making shoes, aren't they employing a lot of people? A small medium industry গুলো আছে না, SME.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Bangladesh to this is a big issue at the moment, the SMEs. If you look at the SMEs, their employment is just as good as garments industry, but the garments industry is a concentrated industry. It's not easy to set up a garments factory just like that. সেই জন্য ওইটা আমাদের চোখে পড়ে কিন্তু এসএমই গুলো কিন্তু চোখে পড়ে না, তাই না?
Exactly sir, exactly.
So that's another matter, how the media perceives or we perceive the industries as this is also an argument.
Yes sir, yes sir, got it. Thanks.
Got it now?
It's okay sir.
Okay, lovely. Acha, now this is the main thing that we need to discuss. সেটা হচ্ছে, let me stop share. I need to look at your face or you need to look at me. সেটা হচ্ছে initially I was under the impression that we are going to have a midterm. So there was a communication gap between me and the university. So that's why later on I found out that there will not be any midterm for the time being. Is this the case for other courses as well?
জি স্যার, অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট শুধু।
Yeah. So আমার ধারণা ছিল যে এটা এই হবে, মানে একটা মিড টার্মটা বোধহয় আমরা অনলাইনে নিব, তারপর বাকি অ্যাসাইনমেন্টস থাকবে। So since midterm নিচ্ছে না, midterm is not going to be taken, definitely your university or program will have some kind of arrangement for midterm, or if they say that okay there will be no midterm, no problem, then we won't take a midterm. But my argument is, if now we have two assessments, the assignment that we took and the midterm, which will now be assignment number 2. If we can take 2 more, i.e. 4 assignments, then what will happen? We have some numbers in the bag. So, and since this is a pandemic situation, nobody actually knows what will happen. If we have some numbers in the bag, later on we can do something with it. Isn't that more practical?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
For example,
Yes,
if I can take 4 assignments, kotha, I can always omit 1. I can say, okay, I'm calculating best 3 out of 4. Okay, so that leaves you guys an chance. So if you one of the assignments was bad for whatever reason, you don't have to worry, that will not be counted. At the same time, if we have more assignments, then এমনও হতে পারে, if we might find out that there is no what do you call it, final exam.
Yes,
Final.
sir. That might
হতে পারে,
happen, sir.
you never know, because
Yes, sir.
because this is a totally uncertain situation. I don't know, your university also doesn't know what's going to happen. So if we have quite a few assignments, then what will happen, even if there's no final, we have something in the bag to and also you are also aware of what your performance is that that's more practical, right?
It's a good idea, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Just to, as a backup plan.
plan.
ব্যাকআপ প্ল্যান এরপরে যদি ওরা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে বলে যে আমাদের ফাইনাল পরীক্ষা হবে, ওকে উইল টেক ইট, নো প্রবলেম। যদি লাস্টে বলে যে না, উই আর নট গোইং টু টেক আ ফাইনাল এক্সাম, দেন হোয়াটস গোইং টু হ্যাপেন? উই ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি অ্যাসেসমেন্টস ইন দ্য ব্যাগ, দেন উই আর ইন ডিপ ট্রাবল। And if we have too many assessments in the bag, no problem, we'll drop one and then calculate the average. This is what I said to the section 2, the other section as well. So, and they also agreed. So do you guys also agree? I think this is quite practical, right?
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
That sounds that's good. And the next thing is the next class will be on Saturday for section 2. After that class, I'm going to give an assignment. Okay, the assignment will be so just let me finish. I'm listening to you. The assignment will be on today's topic, not on the topic that I start next week with section 2. Okay, now can somebody wanted to ask a question? Carry on.
Sir, we have 4 more class left, right? For section 2.
Will there be 12 classes in total?
Yes, sir. I mean, is it like the final exam is counted as a class?
The problem
without
is
the final we have 12 plus.
We actually don't know what's going to happen. We're in a very uncertain situation, just like I said right now, but that doesn't matter. Even if we don't have 12 classes, we will definitely have 11 classes, right? Taina?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in these 11 classes, I will try my level best to take 2 more assignments, and the assignments will be very simple. I'll just ask you to write something in one page, one side of a page. On the top there will be a question, and on one side of a page you write. If you think that you want to write just 3 paragraphs, that will do. Something that I can mark on. Okay, got it?
The next Saturday question পাবো অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের।
হ্যাঁ, next Saturday question পাবো মানে কি, আমি ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে কি, since I'm having to juggle 2 sections. If I was teaching only your section and no other section, then I could do whatever I liked. But the thing is, if I say something in that section, you will find out 2 days later. If I say something on Saturday, you won't find out before Tuesday. That's why I waited for you guys. So today I tell this is what I've decided, and then I'm going to tell them that this is what's going to happen from next Saturday. Okay?
Sir, এটার সময় কতটুকু থাকবে অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের?
সময় 1 day 2 day.
ওকে স্যার, মানে স্যাটারডে ক্লাস আছে তো স্যার, এইজন্য।
হ্যাঁ, না স্যাটারডে আমি you can submit before the next class. So if I declare it on Saturday, you can submit before the next Tuesday.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
And it will be very simple things. It's basically, this is a backup plan, so that if we have a few assessments, khoda na khasta, if we find out that there will be no final exam, okay, then what do? We're in deep trouble if we don't have any assessments in the bag. Do you get the logic?
স্যার, আমাদের ফার্স্ট অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের মার্কসটা কি জানতে পারি?
ফার্স্ট মার্কসগুলো আমি the other section শেষ করে ফেলছি, and I started your section. ঠিক আছে, আমি কাল পরশুর মধ্যে পাঠিয়ে দিব।
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I'm stop sharing now. Does anybody have any questions now?
No, sir.
Okay, so shall I stop the class here?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
what I'll do, I'll upload today's video lecture in the YouTube channel. That will take another 1 hour or so. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And wherever you are, whichever country you're in, stay safe. Prayers for all of you. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.